Hello and welcome once again to another episode of From the Heart. As always, this show is brought to you by the West Virginia Library Commission and the American Heart Association. I'm your host, Kevin Pauley, Marketing Communications Director for the American Heart Association. Well, fall is officially here, and of course it's a time when we think about the changing of the leaves, those cool fall mornings, and various seasons from football season to leaf peeping season. But for the American Heart Association, it is mostly for us known as Heart Walk season, as all around the Mountain State, there will be Heart Walks popping up where you can be a part of our mission by bringing out your friends, your family, even your four-legged friends, and helping us to raise life-saving funds for our work right here in the Mountain State. My guest today is no stranger to the show and no stranger to the Heart Walks. She is a development director who's in charge of two of this fall's Heart Walks, and that is Amanda Sosby. Amanda, thank you for coming back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, here we are, our centennial year, a big year, and we're going into the Heart Walk season. And as we know, this is an incredibly busy time. There's a lot going on. Talk to us a little bit about these fall Heart Walks. Like, what is it about these events that make them so special? And what is it that, from your perspective, that makes you want to keep, coming back each year to these big events?
Our events that we have are really some of our biggest fundraisers for the American Heart Association, and that goes towards different funding for research and things that we do here locally in our community as well. So it's very important. Also, aside from that, as far as just raising awareness,
sure,
and the number of people that are affected by cardiac disease and stroke, they're the number 1 and number 5 killers. So very important from that aspect as well.
Well, I know one thing about it, it's great that we can get these events like around the state. Of course, we have what is arguably our biggest one in the state coming up, with the Charleston Heart Walk. And then you also oversee the Mid-Ohio Valley Heart Walk up in the Parkersburg region. And then we have our dear friend Lauren Thomas, who has the Ohio Valley Heart Walk up in the Wheeling area. So, a great way to kind of spread it around the state. You've got, you got Southern, you got, Western, you got Northern, we got a lot going on. The Heart Walks, as you said, they're a major fundraiser for our organization, and especially for our team here in West Virginia. What is it about these events you think that really makes them so popular and so special where they are such big events?
I think really just, it's been going on for years in Charleston, so
sure,
people are familiar with it. They're familiar with the Heart Association in general. And I think, at least I know for me, when people are coming out, they want to celebrate those who they love, who have either been affected by, heart disease in some way, or maybe them themselves. And I think it's really just a celebration for those people. And I know for me personally, it's really awesome to be able to look out and see, we have our red cap survivors, which is heart disease, white hats, which is stroke, and then of course our kid survivors will be wearing like capes. So
yes,
it's
the hero
really
capes,
cool
yes,
to just be there the day of the event and see the number of those increasing and knowing that what we're doing is really making a difference.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, when you come out to the event, the people that you see in those caps, the kids that you see in those capes, we're seeing more and more of those each year. And that means that more and more people are beating these diseases. They are overcoming it. And that's such a great thing to be able to you kind of sit back and we think of all the things that we do every day for the Heart Association and how crazy it is putting together one of these events. But when you get there and you see the impact that it makes and you see the lives that it's impacting, you see those survivors, for them, they almost treat it like it's their own personal party, this is here for us. And then for those who are there in memory of someone that they've lost, there are so many levels of emotion to this event. I think that's something that always hits me, and I tell people all the time, when you leave this event, you're going to have a good day because you're going to get such a great rush, for meeting all those people.
Fills your cup, for sure.
Yes, it really does. It absolutely fills your cup. I think it's a great perspective for that. So obviously, these events have been going on for a long time. What exactly is a Heart Walk? Like when you come out that morning or that evening, if you're in Parkersburg or Wheeling, what are you going to see? Like, what is this event about?
So we have a lot of different things going on, to help celebrate our survivors. For one, as we were just talking about those, we do have the red hats and the white hats available. So anyone that comes in and tells us, hey, I'm a survivor, we make sure that they are recognized and are able to get one of those hats or cape for
And they
that
get the
matter.
pins too, am I correct?
And the pins, yes. If they've been coming to the walks, which a lot of our folks do, then they get a pin for each year.
Yeah,
that they
I've
come.
seen
So
some
that's
hats
pretty
where I'm
cool.
like, that hat has to weigh like 5 pounds because there's so many pins on it. I'm like, that's awesome. It's such a great thing to see.
Yeah. So, that morning we'll have everybody come in and get registered between 9 and 9:30, and then we'll start our opening ceremonies after that. We do have a lot of different fun things coming up that we've done in the past, but we have our T-shirt strut this year. So for anybody that has their team a custom
This is
T-shirt,
for Charleston, correct? It's
for
Charleston.
Charleston. They get to come out and we'll have a little contest and vote on who has the best
And
T-shirt.
that's a fun aspect because the community teams really get into that. Like that's their big thing. And I also love like a lot of the businesses even get into it. And there's like someone internally who design it for the team and then they get really behind it. Because you had quite a few people participate in it last year.
Yeah, I'd say we probably had 20 different.
I was gonna say it was like a couple dozen. Yeah, it was a significant. I was genuinely surprised how many people got into it, and they were like competitive about it.
Yes, absolutely. So we're bringing that back again this year. This will be the second time we've done that. And then always a fan favorite is the pup parade.
Of course.
So dogs are welcome, obviously, and then we have a couple different categories that they can win. Puppy eyes, waggiest tail, and the best in show.
Best
so
in
that'll
show.
be
That's
fun.
the one they're all going for. You get the big box of milk bones, man. That's a big deal. What I love about that though is that we talk a lot about how pets are so good for your heart because if you have a dog, I mean you know this, they very much want you to take them for walks. So when you have someone that's kind of encouraging you to do that, you get out and do it a little bit more. And again, just that simple 30 minutes a day of walking makes such a difference. So I love that we can incorporate,
Absolutely.
everybody loves dogs. I mean, you get to incorporate that into it, but also there is a healthy message as to why they're there. And I think that's something that really makes that extra special. And then of course, people get really intense about those contests, man. They really want their dogs to win. I love how competitive that gets. It's not the dogs that are competitive, it's their owners, man. They're trying. It's great.
It's always a lot of fun.
It is indeed. The other thing too is again that's another thing that we see a lot of. A lot of people bring their pets to this event, and I think it's great because pets are our family, and so being able to have them there. Now I will remind people if you are bringing your dogs, we do need them on leash. That is it's one caveat we do add. Please make sure they're on the leash. But of course we get to take them down to the field there at Go-Mart Ballpark and let them have their moment, their big parade. It's super cute.
The moment to shine.
Moment to shine. So we got, obviously, those two things are very popular with the people. Like, I know that you just got a lot going on that morning. What other things can people see when they get there?
We'll, aside from those two things, we'll also have a kid zone. So if you bring your family,
yes.
That's something that obviously you want to stop by and do. We'll have some different things going on there, games they can play, some face painting, so that'll be fun. Also, we're going to do CPR training. So if you haven't been able to learn CPR, that's something too that you could take advantage of.
Well, obviously, the Nation of Lifesavers is a massive initiative for us, and I'm really grateful that you have, your chairs, Grant and Kathleen Bates with MRC Global, have been very active with that, and I love the fact that a lot of people saw Damar Hamlin fall at that game. That's just if you saw it, you won't forget that. Like it's one of those things you just can't forget that you saw, and I love that he was able to take what could have been a genuine, huge tragedy and turn it into such a positive by getting people involved to learn CPR and creating our Nation of Lifesavers campaign and being a spokesperson for that campaign. I think it's really important, especially in a more rural state like West Virginia, the more people we have that know CPR, the better we're all going to be because it's just more boots on the ground. So I think it's wonderful to be able to incorporate that into the Heart Walk setting. So anybody that wants to can come by and just check it out and try it out, correct? Like
Absolutely.
Just whoever wants to do it.
Yep, and then we're also going to have some kits available that we'll be giving out to the community
Wonderful.
so that whoever is there, they can take it home to their family or their friends and teach them CPR, and therefore expanding our number of people that know CPR.
And one thing about those kits, I mean, they really are great because they fit into a box about the size of a phone book. You can put them under your bed or put them on a bookshelf, and then every 6 months or something, just bring it out, go through the training, because it doesn't just train about hands-only CPR, which we do definitely have a big focus on, but it will teach you the basics of regular CPR with breaths. It'll teach you the Heimlich maneuver, and it also teaches you how to perform CPR on an infant and a toddler, which is very different. And it's one of those things that when I first joined, when I had my first son, they sent me an infant CPR kit, and I went through it, and I would have never known how different it was until I took that training. So I was so grateful that we had that there. But again, being able to incorporate hands-only CPR to this event, such a wonderful thing to do. And if you get one of those kits, if you're there and can get one of them, you can train so many people on that one kit. And I think that's something we always want people to know. It's not hard to learn. The science shows now that kids as young as 9 can actually physically perform CPR. And we know that kids into going into pre-K, if they can learn their ABCs and numbers, you can teach them how to call 911. And that's just so important. So I'm so glad we're going to have that as an aspect there. CPR is something that everybody needs to know, because odds are if you ever have to perform it, it's going to be on someone that you know. So I'm so glad we have that aspect. Now, I know you've got various sponsors that will have locations there set up. So obviously a whole lot more going on besides these things.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our sponsors will be there. They'll have a table or a tent set up, and people can stop by and get whatever it is that they may be passing out.
They have fun things.
Or any fun things they might be handing out. So that is always awesome as well. We'll have a hydration and snack station too for those once you're done with the walk.
Yeah.
Grab a little snack on the way out. And also one big thing is obviously we'll get to hear from our survivor.
Yes.
So we'll have our survivor story. Yeah.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Ariana is our state's second ever Youth Heart Ambassador for the national level. So, and it's interesting because her family are friends with our first National Youth Ambassador, Hillary Gore. Hillary, of course, attended the Heart Walk that year. She was the National Ambassador, and it's so great to have Ariana attending this one. She has had she has an incredible story, and she's still got a long road to hoe, but it is amazing the energy that child has, the enthusiasm that she has. I think everybody there that day, man, when they see her story, they're going to be jazzed. Because if that little kid, for everything that she's gone through, if she can get up every morning with a smile on her face and get out there and take on the world, man, you can do that too. It's almost like one of those man, what have I done today? This kid's out there making it happen. What have I done today, right? So I'm with you. I think it's a wonderful addition. And I'm so glad that because we're at Go-Mart Ballpark where we can show videos, that we get to let her story be a part of the day. And I know she and her mom are so excited to see that come to life. And I think when she sees the crowd of people there, they're all there for her, man. They're there for all those survivors. I think it's going to be a big day for her. I really do.
It'll be awesome.
So obviously you've got so many wonderful sponsors. You've got and they'll have their stuff set up. Now the walk itself here for Charleston, it's just there at the park, correct?
Yeah, at the park. We'll start our opening ceremonies. We'll have our programs and all the fun things, and then we'll begin the walk right around 10 o'clock. And it is just there on the concourse, so it's super easy. So
it's all one-stop shopping, yeah. Nowhere else to go. It's all right there. Restrooms are there. We've got sound. We've got video. We've got plenty of space. Parking right across the street.
Yep.
All good things. Now, that's Charleston. So you've also got coming up, and for a reminder too, the Charleston Heart Walk is on October 5th. And you can go to heart.org/Charleston WV Walk to register your team. Do make sure you have Charleston WV, because if not, you'll be registering for the Charleston, South Carolina Walk. And that's a long way to go. So unless you want to make that drive, you wanted to stay here in Charleston. But that's October 5th. So now we have coming up on October 17th is the Mid-Ohio Valley Heart Walk, and that's the Parkersburg-Marietta region. So tell us about that one. Now that will once again be back at Parkersburg City Park, correct?
It is, yes. And we're going to have that. So October 17th, it's going to be at 5:30.
Right, because that is an evening event
on Thursday. It's a Thursday
yes.
evening, yeah. So we're excited to be back in that area. And
we have, of course, the big shelter area and all the tents and all that stuff. Now, do you have a lot of the same things happening at that event, or how different will it look compared to Charleston?
A lot of the same things for sure. We know we'll still have our kids zone, and we'll still do a putt parade.
Oh, yeah.
We'll still have all those fun things as well. So it's a little smaller of a walk, but
attendance-wise, yeah, it's a little bit smaller, but the park itself,
nonetheless, yes, the park itself is beautiful.
It really is. It's such a pretty park.
It's a nice fun walk to do.
And you get to walk the perimeter of the park, which again, it's flat, it's very easy to do, and like you said, it's such a beautiful park, and it's right there in downtown. And because it's so close to Halloween, there's so many wonderful houses on the fringe that are decorated, so you almost get to incorporate that into it as well. Now that is you've got a wonderful chair this year with Lindsay Kupfner. Now talk a little bit about her, because she has real skin in the game as to why she is a chair.
Yeah, Lindsay has been great. She has been involved with the Heart Walk for a few years now.
Yes, she has.
When I first met her, I met her because her son, Baylor, who was, I think, maybe 6 months old.
I was going to say, I don't think he was a
when we
year
met
yet.
him.
I know he was young.
And so he had a heart defect when he was
Yes.
born, and so that's how we met her, got her involved, and they were our survivor spotlight. And then they continued to come and support, and then she decided that being the chair would be something she wanted to take on. So we're really glad to have her.
And Lindsay's she's got such a passion for it. Again, she has that personal relationship to the mission because of Baylor, and she just had a baby just a little over a month ago.
Yes.
And she even said, like, that's one of the first things they did was they monitored her heart to make sure everything was good, and everything right now is looking wonderful and healthy for her new baby. And Baylor, she told me, is doing very, very well. So I'm excited to see how he gets to come out and see his mom be the chair of the event. I'm sure that'll be a big deal for him. And again, this is one of the things with both of these events. I always want people to understand, like, this is open to anybody, correct? Like, you don't have to be just a business to have a team.
Absolutely. I mean, we want the community to come out, for this one, for Charleston, for all of our events, because, it's our community really that is the heart of our walks.
Absolutely, yes. And I think that's one of the things too. Those community teams really do like that. That's what gets you so hyped, because they are so excited to be there, and it means so much to them, especially those who are rallying behind a survivor, and especially the ones that are rallying behind a survivor who's a child. Like, man, they go all out, and I love to see it, because every one of those survivors, especially our little ones, deserve to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
And I love seeing that happen. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at some of the PSAs that are going on now, thanks to our wonderful TV partners around the state who are helping promote these events, where you'll be able to see some of our chairs and hear from them as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about how you can get involved in these upcoming fall heart walks, and again, what that will look like for you when you come out the day of. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Parents, grandparents, it's time for a wake-up call. Tobacco companies are targeting our children. West Virginia is #1 in the nation in middle schoolers who vape. Vape companies make products that are colorful and flavored like candy. Worse, they can be hidden in plain sight. Products like hoodies and pens are made to disguise the danger within. Vape liquids contain metals and dangerous chemicals that can damage lungs and impact brain development, and they can even kill. Talk to your kids about vaping. It may just save their lives.
Welcome back to From the Heart. Now today we're joined by Amanda Sosby, our development director, who's helping talk about our upcoming fall heart walks. Now, one more that we do have coming up is here at the end of September, we have the Ohio Valley Heart Walk, which is in the Wheeling territory. It'll be at Wheeling Park, and once again, much like with the Mid-Ohio Valley Heart Walk, it's a Thursday evening, and it is, again, wonderful time to come out. You can learn about every one of these walks by joining us, by going online. And you can find us via our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/AHAWV, or you can also check out the individual websites for each walk. So those are heart.org/CharlestonWV Walk for the Charleston Heart Walk, heart.org/Mid-Ohio Valley Walk for obviously the Mid-Ohio Valley Heart Walk, and heart.org/Ohio Valley Walk for the one in the Ohio Valley Territory in Wheeling. There you can register your teams, and you can get everything set up and get all the information you need so that you can be a part of one of these wonderful events. Now, Amanda, obviously, registration, you can do it anytime. I think the most important word with it, free. So talk a little bit about what the registration process looks like and what all happens once you sign your team up.
Yeah, so we do get that question a lot, so I'm glad that you brought that up, because it is free, which a lot of the walks around here are not.
Are
so
not,
that's
right,
always
exactly.
an
Big
awesome thing that we are able to do. You mentioned all the websites, so really just going on and registering. If you go on, it's super easy. It's just a few quick steps. They'll ask, have you ever walked before? And if so, then you'll be able to pull up your information from the year before, and it's even more simple.
Right.
If you're registering for the first time, it's really, you go on, you choose your team name, you put in your name and your email address, and really that's it. From there, there's a few quick steps that you go through, but it takes no more than 5 minutes of your time.
It's really quick. There's even the Heart Walk app, which you can even go through that way as well. And you can also like customize your page. Like you can put your own team photo and even a video if you'd like. So like once you get registered, like I know you guys send out emails and stuff. So do those just like automatically come to you because you're in the system? There's nothing else you have to do. Everything comes to you?
Yep, that is how that works. But once you are registered, as you mentioned, the Heart Walk app, we do encourage everybody to download that because it's so easy to share everything right from the app.
Yes.
If you want to do fundraisers, you have the option just with a couple clicks to post to all your social medias. It also generates just some pre-written emails that you can, with the touch of a button, you can send an email, you can send a text, all the different things to make it easy to invite people to join the team and join you in walking on that day.
And one of the things I always remind people is if you have family and friends who don't live here, they can still join your team virtually. They can still make donations to your team to help you get there, because for those teams, we do want you to know there are prizes. Okay, so talk a little bit about the prizes that are up for grabs at each one of these Heart Walks.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have 3 different categories that we're looking at. So we have awards for the top 3 companies, the top 3 fundraising companies.
Right.
We do the top 3 community teams, and then we also do the top 3 walkers that we give prizes for.
So that's like, there's a lot up there, man. And I mean, like we have had some community teams that have come in like where I'm like, wow, where do they find the time? How do they bring in that kind of cash? But a lot of it is the online component, which you can do through the app. And we love making things simple. We're all about that at the Heart Association, so we're so glad that we could do that. Really quick, we're going to take a look now. One of the great things about working on these events is that we have wonderful TV partners in our territories who help promote these events for us and get involved with getting the word out. So we'll take a look now at our 3 different Heart Walk spots this year. You'll see our Ohio Valley Heart Walk spot from our good friends at WTRF. You'll see the Mid-Ohio Valley Heart Walk spot from our good friends at WTAP, and you'll see our Charleston Heart Walk spot from our dear good friends at WCHS Eyewitness News. So take a look now. We'll be right back.
Lace up your sneakers because it is time for the 2024 Ohio Valley Heart Walk. Join us as we walk to fight heart disease and stroke, the number 1 and number 5 killers of Americans.
Come celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the American Heart Association and help us save the lives of men, women, and children in our region.
Download the Heart Walk app and register your team today.
Come walk with us on September 26th at Wheeling Park. We'll see you there.
Lace up the sneakers. It's time for the 2024 Charleston Heart Walk.
Join us as we walk to fight heart disease and stroke, the number 1 and number 5 killers of Americans.
Come celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the American Heart Association.
And help us save the lives of men, women, and children in our region.
Download the Heart Walk app and register your team today.
Come walk with us on October 5th at GoMart Ballpark.
We'll see you there.
Lace up your sneakers. It's time for the 2024 Mid-Ohio Valley Heart Walk.
Join us at Parkersburg City Park as we walk to fight heart disease and stroke.
Celebrate the 100th anniversary of the American Heart Association and help us save the lives of men, women, and children in our region.
Download the Heart Walk app or visit heart.org to register your team.
Donations fund life-saving research, so contact the American Heart Association to form a team.
Come walk with us on October 17th.
We'll see you here.
So there you have it. We want to say a special thanks once again to our wonderful TV partners at WTAP, WCHS, Eyewitness News, and WTRF. And a special thanks to our chairs who you saw in each of those spots. Dr. Michael Campsey with Ohio Valley Heart Walk, who is himself a stroke survivor, so this is very personal for him. Of course, a big thanks to Grant and Kathleen Bates with MRC Global here for the Charleston Heart Walk. They have become really active in the Nation of Lifesavers. They've even had a situation where they had a CPR incident at their facility where someone actually knew what they were doing, and that person was helped. And we also want to say a very special thanks to Lindsay Kuffner, who is our Mid-Ohio Valley Heart Walk chair. And again, talk about having skin in the game. She has a beautiful little boy who is a heart survivor. And again, she even attributes that to the work that's done through the American Heart Association and through the funds raised at events like this. Amanda, as we're wrapping up here, these 3 events are such special events, and each one has their own individual feel and vibe, which I love. what if someone's on the fence about why to get involved with this event, why they should sign up, why they should be a part of this? What would you say is really like why you need to do it?
Everybody has a reason why, whether you really think you do or you don't. If either yourself maybe has been touched by it, someone you love, or maybe a friend or a family member,
coworker, yeah.
And not to mention just the preventative aspect of it. If you don't have any of those connections, do it for no other reason than your own health.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when you come out and walk, obviously you can walk as much as you want. We try to encourage a mile, but if you want to do more than that, go for it. If you want to run it, go for it. I've seen people treat it like a 5K. More power to you. We have no awards to give you, but more power to you. But obviously, everybody has a reason for being there, and I think, like you said, and it's a really good point, is I don't know anybody who's not been touched by our mission in some way, shape, or form. If you know someone who's had a stent, if you know someone who has a special medication for their blood pressure or cholesterol, if you know someone who's had CPR performed on them, those things don't happen without the work that we do here at the American Heart Association, and it's so important to see that happen. As we're wrapping up, again, just final information about the Heart Walks. You've got the Charleston Heart Walk, October 12th.
October 5th.
October 5th. And that is at the Go-Mart Ballpark.
Yes.
Remind people it's heart.org/Charleston WV Walk. You've got the Mid-Ohio Valley Heart Walk, and that is
October 17th.
And that's at Parkersburg City Park. And again, heart.org/Mid-Ohio Valley Walk. And then we have on September, and I'm drawing a blank here because it's not hitting me immediately, for the Ohio Valley Heart Walk. It is at the end of September, my apologies, but it is on our website. You can find it. And then again, that website for registering your team, heart.org/Ohio Valley Walk. Whichever one you can be a part of, we're thrilled to have you there. Your attendance matters. The funds that you raise matter. Every dollar matters. Amanda, thank you so much for the time today. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for these wonderful, wonderful events. I know you're already looking really good as far as like goals and fundraising, and you've got so many people getting on board. And that's a real testament to the work that you're doing in our community. So thank you so much for everything you're doing out there, for how you're making these things happen. And again, these are our biggest fundraisers, and the money that's coming in is going right back into our mission right here in West Virginia. So as someone who has their own personal reasons for walking, thank you for everything you do to make these events so special and so personal, which I think is it's a hard thing to make that work with such a crowd, but you do make it work that way. So thank you so much for helping us with that.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Well, that's going to bring this episode to a close. Now, again, we remind you there are 3 Heart Walks you can be a part of this fall, and they are all a wonderful time. They're all such wonderful events. You will have a great time, we promise you. Remember, registration is absolutely free. There is no fee whatsoever, and you can set how much you want your team to be able to fundraise. You can invite anybody to be a part of this. We encourage anyone to come out. A business, great. School groups, great. Civics groups, great. Churches, scouts, whatever your group of people that you hang with is, they can be a part of our Heart Walks, and we encourage you to come out and be a part of all the fun and the wonderful feelings that you'll get from being a part of our fall Heart Walks. Now, again, we remind you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/AHAWV, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at AHA_WV. From there, you can also find the links to every one of these websites to register for any one of our Heart Walks. Well, that will bring this episode to a close. Thank you so much for joining us here on From the Heart. We'll see you next time. Here's wishing you good health for a happy heart, and lace up your sneakers, folks. It's Heart Walk season. We'll see you there.